What is ocean acidification? Ocean acidification is a chemical reaction that happens in the ocean when CO2 and H2O combine forces to make H2CO3, commonly known as carbonic acid. This reaction typically happens naturally, but with excessive amounts of CO2 in our atmosphere, product of human activity like burnt fossil fuels and changing land use, this reaction has created a problem that has been affecting our oceans. This is ocean acidification. It has been estimated that the Earth's global ocean absorbs about 30% of CO2 from our atmosphere. It may not seem like much, but with the amount of CO2 being produced from the increase of human activity since the birth of the Industrial Revolution, this has caused an excess amount of CO2 to be absorbed by our oceans. So what does this mean? The pH in our global ocean lowers, making the water more acidic and problematic for a lot of marine life. With the excess amount of CO2 being absorbed by our oceans, there's an increase of hydrogen ions and a decrease of carbonate ions. With more hydrogen ions, this causes a lower pH in our ocean, and with less carbonate ions, this equals to a lower amount of calcium carbonate. This is a chemical compound mollusks, crustaceans, and other various marine organisms use to make their shells/skeletons. This whole process was recognized as a potentially threatening climate change-related mechanism in 2008. What are molluscan bivalves? A mollusk is an organism with a soft, unsegmented body, usually enclosed partly or fully by a calcium carbonate shell, such as snails, chittens, and squid. A bivalve is a mollusk with two shells known as valves, such as oysters, mussels, and clams. The shells that a majority of mollusks and bivalves have help support their living tissues, protect them from predators, and in the case of burrowing species, help them exclude sand and mud from their mantle cavity. In other words, all bivalves are mollusks, but not all mollusks are bivalves. Marine-shelled mollusks and bivalves are both important economically and ecologically. Among other essential ecosystem services, they provide habitat structure for benthic organisms, water purification, and a food source for other organisms. Many cultures across the world rely heavily on shellfish as a reliable food source, and a lot of economies depend on shellfish as an important source of income. According to the Washington State Department of Agriculture, Washington is the nation's #1 producer in shellfish aquaculture in annual production estimated in excess of $200 million. Ocean acidification's effects. The concentration of carbonate ions has steadily been reduced by the effects of ocean acidification. Structures like coral skeletons and seashells depend on carbonate ions as a fundamental component. For calcifying organisms like oysters, clams, sea urchins, coral, and calcareous plankton, decreases in carbonate ions can make the process of constructing and preserving calcium carbonate structures more challenging. The decreased availability of carbonate ions is called undersaturation. Admittedly, there are big gaps in the current understanding of biological consequences of an acidifying ocean on shelled mollusks. What we do know is under a certain amount of undersaturation, most shells start dissolving. Organisms have to spend an extra amount of energy repairing the damage or thickening their shells to survive. Ocean acidification has the biggest effect on larvae of many marine organisms during their baby stage or juvenile stage. One specific type of larvae that has been studied extensively and has shown a considerable amount of vulnerability to the effects of ocean acidification is clownfish. Most coral reef fish haven't shown much of a reaction to ocean acidification, but these guys have been found to lose their ability to distinguish between favorable and unfavorable habitats, and also have been recorded behaving strangely in highly acidified waters, becoming attracted to a predator while being unable to smell their own parents. The larvae stage is right before they become adults and are fully formed, so the exposure of ocean acidification, a lot of juvenile marine organisms have a reduction in survival, and a lot of them don't grow as large as they should be. Ocean acidification isn't just an issue for calcifiers, those that require calcium carbonate to survive, or organisms that rely on many calcifiers as a food source. It is an interconnected issue that impacts the entirety of the food chain. This includes us. Though scientists are constantly learning new things about this topic, its awareness is not as widespread as that of other issues, such as climate change.